Wow, Matt. Top 10 video, eh? Really scraping the barrel for that content. It's a good thing you've just started, because it shows you've really got good ideas. What's next? Tier lists and let's plays. Oh no. So, top 10 list. You probably know what this top 10 list is about, which hopefully Matt has put an apt thumbnail for. Maybe a bit clickbaity, but we'll see. So this is like a mixed bag. The general rule for this is, first of all, it's top 10 of course. It doesn't have to be from this year, it can be from any year. Basically as long as I experience it the first time this year. So there's some older stuff on here that you'll notice, but there is a mix of new stuff here as well, because that's what's come out. Nothing kind of recurring, so if it's something I regularly read or watch or play, like I'm not going to do that unless it's like a different experience. Yeah, good job explaining that, you idiot. I guess the rules are, it's whatever I want. And you feel like, well, why has he put this on here? Because the chances are I probably haven't watched it, or experienced it, or played it, or maybe I don't like it. That's also an option too. So let's tune into this top 10 list, which Matt will call top 10 pieces of media that he experienced this year, but didn't necessarily come out this year, and they're good, and they're all good. So strap in and get ready for a fun time as Matt talks about his top 10, unless you do what I do and hover over the previews to see what came in different positions, which please don't, I need it. Start the video, go! Magic is an idea I think that has just fascinated a lot of people. I think the idea of just being able to do the impossible, you know, these grand fantasy worlds where people's imaginations can run free. That's why so many series are massive and so many people love these kind of things. But here's a question. What would you do if you were born in a world of magic, but you couldn't use magic at all? Would you struggle or just lay low? Or would you just work out, get super strong and start beating up some wizards? Mashal! A world of magic and muscles, aka One Punch Academia and the Philosopher's Stone. It's really good. I know I'm starting with a manga. There's other stuff on here. Just let me talk about this. I really like this series. This is just fun. I think this series is just a good old time. Basic premise, as I tried to describe there. Main character called Mash. He can't use magic at all, so he just worked out pretty much his whole life and became insanely strong. Basically, he has to infiltrate not Hogwarts, basically become one of the best wizards out there without using magic, and it's really good. There's some very funny scenes. There's times where it's basically like, let's have a broom test, and he just jumps really high on the broom, like, whoa, look at him fly! It's that kind of humour to it. He gets in fights, and he wrecks, and you kind of guess he's gonna win, but it's good, it's fun. I'm not at a point where, like with the supporting cast, I know their names, but at the very least, I could tell you their abilities, and that's a good thing. Oh, look, it's explosive guy, and look at the gravity guy, and oh, sword guy. Yeah, sword guy. He throws a sword or two. It's fun. The art's fine, but it's what it is. It's a comedy more than anything. But the fight's really interesting. It's generally like not interesting, but they're fun. It's like the thing is with this series. This is how I could genuinely sum up my feelings about it. Is out of everything I read, when the weekly chapters come out, I always end with Mashal, because I feel like I'm just like, well, I'll end on a good note at least, no matter what the other chapters are like. Mashal will be good. And you know what? Most of the time, I'm right. I don't even like, even like the weekly chapters of Mashal, like, oh, that's fine. But most of the time, Mashal's just really fun and good. I'd fully recommend Mashal, especially if you are a fan of like the comedy of One Punch Man. So, check out Mashal. And then, that was some real confidence, Matt. Good job. Put us to the next one, please. So for my number 9, I decided to go for the film Green Book. Green Book's a film I want to see for a little bit now, but I finally got to see it this year, and I really enjoyed it, because while you're not going to see anything revolutionary if you do watch this film, I think what it does is, it's pretty standard in the sense of like, it's a buddy comedy, and it deals with the racism stuff, but it does it all really well, that it's great, like especially the performances of the two leads. So the synopsis of the film is this: it's based on a true story of Tony the Lip, who is like a New York hustler bouncer, and he's hired by a great pianist, Dr. Shirley, to take him through the south of America is set in the 1960s as he goes for a tour. And I should probably mention that Tony is white and Dr. Shirley is black, hence the assistant bodyguard that he needs. The film doesn't do anything too original, but what it does is it does everything really well. Like, the cinematography is great. In particular, the two leads are great. Mahershala Ali, as long as I said that right, he's really good in it, as well as Viggo Mortensen. They both play those character tropes really well. Of like, I'm the upclass one, hey, I'm the hustler one. You know, like, I'm this guy, and I don't like you, but now over the course of this film, we'll get to know each other and become good friends. And it's done just really well. The cinematography is really good, and I was actually surprised to find out the director, whose name I didn't remember, thank you, he actually directed Dumb and Dumber, which at first I was surprised about, because I was like, this is such a different film to Dumb and Dumber. But is it too different? Because it is a buddy comedy still. It's about two friends on an adventure, I guess, and someone who hasn't seen Dumb and Dumber would assume. I gotta say, like, he just did a really good job, and I get it's worth the praise it deserves. I think there was some backlash about this film when it came out, but I really liked it. I think everyone did a good job, and yeah. Wacky edit. Next one. Just when I lulled you in with talking about some cinema and what I like, going back to that manga, or manhwa, because Matt just said it wrong. He didn't say manga then manhwa, but yeah, she said manhwa then manhwa. Solo leveling, or I seem to be the only person levels up, or I'm the only person levels up, is something I don't know why I like. Like, by all means, I've read stories like this before, but why is this one so good in comparison? And like, so I guess what I've learned, actually looking at all this, is I quite like overpowered characters when they're done right. If they're played for comedy, it's great, or when their goals can't be achieved through strength, that's great as well. And when they're a mix of the both, then, you know, it's beautiful. Why is this one so good? Whereas, I guess if I had to try and look at it, it's like what I said before about Green Book, where there's nothing really too revolutionary here, but it does what it does so well that it doesn't need to be. It hones in on those tropes so good. So, synopsis, Sung Jin-woo, this is based in the real world. Basically, magic stuff happens, and there's hunters, and there's gates, and basically random people can get powers, but they use them to fight gates, because if they don't fight the gates, then monsters will burst through and kill everyone, pretty much. So he's actually the weakest one, but then he survives this sort of massive ordeal, and he gets an opportunity to become the strongest one, as long as he does the work. Oh, look at that. Never seen that before. Maybe it's because the art is astounding. Maybe it's because, for once, you kind of get where he's coming from and he's not like a total bland character and like he's dealing with his emotions. Maybe it's just the spectacle. Maybe it's because it's the perfect welcome to the jungle moment whenever the enemy's like, I've got an army, and then he's like, oh boy, I got a surprise for you, little ones. Arise, and it's sick. I don't know why this is so good, but it's just so fun to read. Like, it's an easy read. Like, I've only read season 1, and I'm not planning on reading season 2 for a while because it's popcorn reading. It's just don't focus too much and have some fun with it. And I had a lot of fun with this series. It's simple, it's done right. Like it does the tropes well, but it does small stuff. So like his powers are a bit different, and like it's a tiny thing, but every wannabe hero uses a sword. He uses daggers. I'm happy with that. It's the small changes, and it's a good series. I recommend it if you want a nice, easy read. It's not even like difficult to read. It's just scroll down and then you've read a chapter. Good stuff. Next is, oh Matt, why has it got to be that one? I'm joking. I like this thing a lot too. Boys in the Hood was very, very good. And that's what I have to say about Boys in the Hood. Next one. Follow you in with some films, jokes, time for some manga. It's about Vikings. I'm guessing it's similar to the show Vikings, but I haven't actually seen the show Vikings, so it might not be similar. But then again, it is about Vikings, so it does have something similar about Vikings. It's Vinland Saga. Vinland Saga, the reason I put this pretty high, and I was like unsure where to rate it, however, the fact is, I watched this all in a day. Like, I probably started at like 9 in the morning. I remember finishing at like 2 or 3 the next morning. And I just couldn't stop watching it, which is why I have to rate it so highly. The show is about a young boy called Vorfin. This is all, I know obviously like the manga thing can put people off, but it's set in like when the Vikings were raiding England. It's about a young boy called Vorfin. His father Thors gets killed by another Viking called Aslad, and basically he gets recruited. He doesn't get recruited. He joins Ashlad's Viking group voluntarily on the premise of, one day I will kill you, Aslad, for killing my father. Like, that's the reason he's part of this group. And they have like this twisted relationship where, like, you know, he's kind of mentoring him, but he's using him at the same time. It's very interesting. There's character development, like the art style is really good as well. I checked out a bit of the manga after watching all the anime, and wow, this is some good stuff. I'm very invested in what's going on. I mean, like, they say by the end of the first episode, it's the end of the prologue. By the end of, not the end of the first episode, the end of the first season, that's just the prologue of the story, because Vinland is nothing to do with what they're doing at this point in time, but it builds up character, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing season 2. I want to see what they do with these characters, especially how it goes. Basically, it's gritty, it's got some good action, it's got some good drama, there's some politics in there too, so you know it's interesting. Good stuff. Yeah, I think Vinland Saga is very good. Stories about greatness are very interesting to me. I guess that's why I've liked a lot of stories I read growing up, but it's just how far people will push themselves to be remembered and to go down as one of the best of all time is interesting. And I think that's why The Last Dance really interested me. You know, I heard about it before, obviously because Netflix were pushing it everywhere because it's a big documentary, but, you know, I started watching it because, you know, I want that Space Jam episode. Where's the episode about Space Jam? I want the Quad City DJ interview, I want Bugs Bunny getting interviewed. And then I started watching, I was like, oh wait, this is fascinating stuff. I know who Michael Jordan is. You know, everyone knows who Michael Jordan is. He's one of the most famous athletes in history. So to learn about his actual story, what him and his team went through, it's great stuff. It really is. Like that 6 years of like his prime, of like where he was the biggest name in the world, it's great. And you don't even have to be like a basketball fan to enjoy this documentary. Look, I know very little about basketball, you know? I know what a basket is, I know what a ball is, you put those words together and you've lost me. But I'm like, right, okay, this is thrilling stuff. And because it's not just about Michael Jordan, it's about the team. You know, before this, I didn't know who his teammates were. I was just like, oh, no, Michael Jordan and the others. Now, Scottie Pippen? I like Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen's that guy. Dennis Rodman? Well, like, Dennis Multicolored Hairman. Got him. But what I was going back to that story of greatness, that's what I love about this is in another project like I loved was Whiplash. I love that film because once again it's like, you know, how far would you push yourself and the people around you to become one of the greatest? And this is good because it's not only just real, it's real, and I guess that's probably one of the main reasons. Like how seeing a different side to these people, like Michael Jordan, it's good, it's interesting, I fully recommend it, whether you're a basketball fan or not. Just go check it out. It's a great watch. 10 parts, hour each. You'll binge through it in no time. No Country for Old Men was very, very good. And that'll do for that one. No, we have to talk about a proper film sometimes, Matthew, don't we? You know, it's serious because I called myself Matthew. No Country for Old Men was absolutely fantastic. What a film that is. This was, I've seen other bits of this, no, I haven't seen other bits of this before, it's been referenced, but it was, when I watched it, I was like, I get it. So it was like, this is my first Coen Brothers film I saw. I get him now. I still have Javier Bardem in Skyfall, and I liked him in that, but now I very much get Javier Bardem. Tommy Lee Jones is good, Josh Brolin's good. The synopsis of this is basically, Josh Brolin is kind of like he's not a hustler, he's just an average guy who walks in on a drug deal that gone wrong and gets a lot of money. So he takes the money and runs off with it. Turns out people don't like that, especially Javier Bardem's character, who is a big old villain who likes to kill just for killing, and he's like, I want the money but I also want to kill you. And it's this great kind of like, it's a really good thriller, it's tense, it's like clever, it's done really well. I like a lot of it. Like I took film at university and I don't really use that degree a lot, to be honest, but it's films like this where I just sit back afterwards and I'm just like, Wow. It gets my mind thinking about film stuff, and I thought this one was fantastic. I sat in silence right after this, just thinking about what this film was, and in particular, obviously, just like the others, shot great, sounds great, looks great. My favourite scene throughout the whole film was probably the very end. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but Javier Bardem and the kids, love that scene so much. I think that it's like, it's so small, but it means a lot, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is clever. I like this a lot. Yeah, good film. Fully would recommend it. Anything else you'd like to say about this film, Matt? So, Tokyo Revengers is kind of a sci-fi story. Like, it's sci-fi in the sense of how, like, Back to the Future sci-fi. You know how, like, it's got the sci-fi elements, but it doesn't really affect the story that much, apart from, like, what the main character can do. So, the story of Tokyo Revengers follows Takemichi. Takemichi is a guy who's kind of, he's a bit of a loser, really. He's in a rundown job, you know, he's not got a lot going for him, he's in a crappy apartment. He recently discovers that the only girlfriend he's ever had in his life, back in middle school, has died due to an attack by a gang. And for some reason, he travels back in time 12 years, he doesn't know why, and we don't know why, to middle school. And he's the age he was at middle school. So he's got his mindset there. And now he's there, he's kind of sick of running away, and he wants to try and prevent this girl from dying, because she doesn't deserve to die. He remembered, like, she was the only person who was kind of nice to him. So it's about his story of basically trying to change his life for the better and trying to save this girl, right? But that's the only kind of sci-fi bit about it. Apart from that, it's pretty thriller in the sense of how it's told. It's about gang wars more than anything, like teenage gang wars. So there's fighting, but it's hand to hand a lot of the time. The fighting's pretty realistic and brutal in my opinion, at least. Like, you know, it's not like someone's just going to get back up straight away. Sometimes people get hurt and sometimes people die, and it sucks. You get to really like these characters because you learn more about them and you learn what they can do and like what their past is more as well. Like, I want to tell you about the story because I really like it. But it's difficult to talk about certain things. Like, the art's gorgeous. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's great. And I'm probably showing a lot of one character at this point, but he's not even the main character. It's this guy, and the main character's really good as well because he can fight. Not really, actually. What am I saying? He can't fight. Matt, you're an idiot. He can't fight at all. And that's kind of the draw of him. Like, in a series where, you know, like, a lot of characters solve their problems using their fists because that's, you know, that's how they fight against the gangs. You know, he sucks at fighting, but he still doesn't give up because he knows what the stakes are, and he's quite likable in that sense. The supporting cast is quite likable too. The villain is really good. I really like the main villain of this. It's a good story. It's got a lot of twists and turns. Also does something really cool with the time travel stuff where, you know, similar to like the butterfly effect, where obviously because he changes things in the past, he goes back to the future and things have changed completely. Sometimes he's in like a better position, sometimes he's in a worse position. Sometimes his life is massively different, and you know, he's got different time periods to go to, not like crazy time period, but I mean like a few months within each other. Like, he's trying to figure out what's going on, and basically he doesn't want people to die, and these new friends he's made are really good for him, and it's a really good story. I fully recommend it. I think there's going to be an anime made of it soon as well, but it's so good. I'm very emotionally invested to the point where I didn't read it for a few months, got back to it, and then I was just back into it. Like, next chapter, someone died in that next chapter, and I started to tear up because it hit me. It's just a really well told story, and I fully recommend it. I probably haven't done the best job of explaining it. Check out Tokyo Revengers. Read the first couple chapters, or wait for the first episode to come out, and then, you know, judge it from there. It's actually amazing. So I've only had one game on the list, which is surprising because I quite like games, but this was interesting because this is a series I've tried to get into before, but it's been a bit hit and miss for me. So I've tried Final Fantasy before. I tried the port of 7, it was alright, it didn't click with me. 15, I liked bits of, I really liked, but it was missing things to make it a proper game. And this year, the remake of Final Fantasy 7 came out, and guys, I get it. This game is so good, man. Like, it's what I like in a game generally. Fighting is fun, the characters are fun, everything about this is so fun, it looks great, it sounds, oh, the music. Can we talk about the music for a second? You got the and it goes into a techno thing. I mean, I'm probably sure the old fans don't like that, but hey, I'm a lad. You know, I get this. You know, there's also like, I mean, there's plenty of them. There's like, when that went, I was like, ooh, I'm liking the. It's good. It's very, it's fun. And I can't mention songs about the. Everyone likes a bit of that. Everyone likes a bit of that. My favourite thing about it was the tone. The tone, I think, was probably my favourite thing because it starts off, oh, you're eco-terrorist, and oh my god, you gotta stop this big company from taking over. You know, they're abusing the planet. We've got to save the planet. Cut to later on in the game. Why am I fighting a giant house? What? Churn missiles? What's going on? Oh wait, hang on. We're gonna choose that. Oh no, we're dancing. We're dancing now. Oh, we're really dancing now. Like, it was fun. I'm invested now. I'm super ready for whatever this series has got next because I played all of part 1. I really went for that game. I just had such a blast with it. I'm ready for whatever they've got next. I'm excited for what they've got next. They got me hooked. As long as they drop the ball, I'm fine with it. It's a really good game. I fully recommend it. On a small note as well, Sephiroth.
And then Matt spoiled stuff about the game and he's shown you enough, I think.
And then they added him to Smash Bros. And now I tried him and I really like him, so my opinion of Sephiroth has changed. Like, I was like, oh, he's alright, but no, he's one of the boys. He's one of many boys. That was for one of you. You know who you are if you watch this. He's just one of the many boys. So there we go. Anyway, what's number 1?
Find us a way out of here!
But then...
Don't worry, I'll be fine. I've got Soldier Boy with me.
So, for my number 1 pick, my favourite thing this year that I discovered in terms of media, something I've tried the past couple of years is a game called Dungeons & Dragons. You may have heard of it. And I discovered it through a podcast called The Adventure Zone, very successful, very funny. And I tried others. I just couldn't get into them as much. I tried Critical Role, that's fine, but it's hit and miss for me. I tried, and the Adventure Zone carried on, and it was fine, but it wasn't as good to me anymore. I wasn't enjoying it as much. But then I found this one, and it's my favourite thing this year. Dungeons and Daddies, not a BDSM podcast, has not failed yet to make me laugh. Genuinely, like, this is, for me, I don't know if it's for you, for me, this is like an amazing series. Like, I've genuinely not failed to laugh at an episode. It's that good, it's that funny. The premise is very simple, right? 4 dads from our world are going to a soccer or football game, get it because I'm British, with their kids. They go to take their kids to their local, to the kids' football team. And they go on the way in their minivan. They get warped to an alternate world, they don't know how. All they know is when they get there, the kids are missing, so they have to find their kids and get back home, right? Super simple premise, that's it. And the way they all play these characters, because it's basically improv comedy the whole time, is made me kind of realise maybe I don't like D&D that much, maybe I just like what this is, because this is just amazing. The amount of times, like, they all play super stereotypes, right? So you've got, like, the sports dad, the music dad, you've got a stepdad, you've got, like, a nature vegan dad, and they all just play it so well. They're all so good, and, like, the only thing that's just as good as them is Anthony Birch, who's, like, the daddy master. Never said that out loud. He's so good with, like, the world he's created, like, giving them all these different things, so that's one of the best things. There's so much variety for this. End up in a coliseum, they've been in a court case. I don't want to spoil it, because I really recommend you to read it. I love this so much, not only just for, when I say it makes me laugh, I mean genuinely. When I started listening to it was when the lockdown began last year for us. It was kind of early lockdown, I was still going to work, and the streets were dead. I was so thankful because that first episode I could not stop laughing out loud. It was that good, and sometimes I've had to stop what I was doing because I was laughing that much at this. It's amazing, like the quality, like the production value on this as well, just adding sound effects, background music, not all the time, but some of the time. They've made an album based off a joke. One of them made a joke because he says he's a geologist, that like he made an album called Rocks Rock. They made the full album.
Hello, everyone! Welcome to the San Dimas Museum of Natural History. SDMNH represent! My name's Henry Oak, and I'll be your guide today to the wonderful world of G to the E to the ology.
It's really good, and the way they do the characters is amazing too, because like I said, they're the stereotypes, but they know what they're doing with them. They're so funny, they're so amazing, everyone's great. So the point of this is like when you get to the more serious moments, you like these characters already, and you're like, wow, when they want to have a more serious moment, you're ready for it too. I could not recommend this podcast enough. It's very funny, it's very well done. It's a highlight of my week whenever, like, it's a bi-weekly podcast, and it's a highlight of my week when this comes out. I normally listen to podcasts when I'm traveling or when I'm working on other stuff, so this is one of the few podcasts I'm quite happy to just sit down, grab a drink and listen to, and it's a blast, you know. And it's probably going to end sooner rather than later. I don't know how long they want to keep this going for, like, but I'm genuinely quite sad that this is going to end, because it's been such a blast, especially during the lockdown with everything that's happened in 2020. It was just such a getaway from it all. It's brilliant, and that's all I gotta say on that. I could probably say more, let's be honest, but I fully recommend this podcast. Any case, what's your favourite thing of 2020? And if any of you say COVID, you're a silly sausage, because that was not very nice. Yeah, I guess this is where we end it. I don't really have a sign off. Yeah, Matt, create a sign off. Ah, that's very funny. Ha ha ha. No. I don't know. Just go check out this stuff if you haven't. If anything you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, check it out. Hey, if you check out any of this stuff, let me know. You're like, come back. It's like, I checked out blank and I hated it. And I'm like, oh dear. Maybe I should keep my opinions to myself. Cool. Bye. I don't know how to end this. How about with
This